Hi, everyone. I'm Steph, and this is my email if you have questions later. I'm also looking for climbing partners, so hit me up. This is my GitHub. The slides will be up there. And like the presenters before me, and I think Vite, who's coming after me, I attended RC, or Recurse Center, a 3-month programming retreat in New York City. I highly recommend it if you like hacking things together and want to be with other stoked and enthusiastic people. It's also where I first read the paper Growing a Language by Guy Steele, which sparked my interest in languages, both formal and human. And speaking of human languages, in English, we can say you still have much to learn. That's grammatical, right? Your grammar school teachers will be like, yeah, nice sentence. But your grammar school teacher will be like, yo, what's that? That's not English. Or rather prescriptivist linguists who will tell you what the correct way of speaking is and so on. But as a descriptivist myself, I would say that's all right. People can speak that way. And in Lisp-like languages, the syntax is that you have a left paren, an operation, and a list of expressions, and then a right parentheses. And that is considered a valid Lisp statement, whereas this would not be valid. And who gets to decide these things, like what makes a syntax incorrect and correct? Well, first of all, let's talk about what describes it, and what describes it. This syntax is grammar. Grammar is a finite set of rules that describes a language's structure. So it describes what's correct. And this is the more formal definition. Grammar equals NTSP. And I was like, what? This sounds like a Myers-Briggs personality type. And I don't know. I was really dumbfounded when my professor showed this to me in class. So let's start with T. And T is a finite set of terminal symbols. So going back to our example of that small Lisp expression, a terminal would be what ends up as your like final string in your language, or what is a string that is a member of that language. So, and when I say string, I mean a statement. I'm sorry for the terminology. Linguistics is terrible. So the left paren, the plus, the 1, 2, and the right paren are terminal symbols in Lisp-like languages. And so this is what would be in that set. And non-terminal symbols are something like variables, and non-terminal symbols and terminal symbols are disjoint. So you cannot have a symbol that is both terminal and non-terminal. And again, going back to that example, the left paren is a variable that stands for the terminal that is the actual left paren. Or maybe what would be a better example is numeral. So numeral is a variable that can stand for 1 or 2 in the Lisp-like language. And S is a start symbol. S is a non-terminal, so it's a member of that set. And it would be something like a left paren. So S here would be the start symbol that evaluates, or you can rewrite it to become the left paren and some other expression. And P stands for productions, and it means it's a set of rewrite rules. And rewrite rules come with the form alpha to beta, and alpha can be either a non-terminal or a terminal symbol, but there must at least be one non-terminal symbol so that it can actually evaluate from a non-terminal to some other symbol, which can be a non-terminal or a terminal. And so going back to the example from the start symbol, that one was actually a production rule. So the start symbol goes from a left parentheses to an expression, and the expression can evaluate to a plus or a list, or can evaluate to a plus and a list. And the list evaluates to a number and a right paren, or the number can, and the number evaluates to an actual number, which is 1 or 2. And we write these grammars in some notational techniques, and linguists like to write it in this manner, which is something called, which is called a Chomsky normal form. But computer scientists, we like to do our own way. So we use the BackusNaur form, and its most basic form is that there's a symbol on the left-hand side and an expression on the right-hand side, where the symbol is a non-terminal and the expression must consist of at least one symbol. And this is how that, if we had the language that would only produce +1 2 or +1 1 2 +1 2 1 1 or +1 1 2 2, this is how that language's syntax would be described using this grammar. So you have the left paren going to the expression going to the plus or the list, and the list evaluating to either a number in the list or so on and so forth. And quick aside, the Greek symbol epsilon stands for empty string, so that it can terminate at some point, like your program has to end or your language has to end. And yeah, if you are ever wanting to write your own language, you need to describe the syntax of that language. So you have to have a notational technique to describe the grammar of that syntax. And BackusNaur is really excellent for that because it's precise, and a lot of people are familiar with it, and it's very concise. And you would be in pretty good company, I think. Antler uses it, Yak, and also parsers in the Racket language uses BNF. Yeah, so an application with grammar is that it's necessary to be able to parse something, because parsing is the act of licensing a string given a grammar. So you need to have some kind of rules to be able to tell, like, if a string is valid in that language. And if you are interested in learning more, this link is a really good resource, and you can maybe read it without having to invest too much time. If you don't have time to read the Bible of parsing called Parsing Techniques, if you think you've discovered a new parsing technique, you should probably read the book. And the paper that started it all, Growing a Language by Guy Steele. Yeah, thank you very much. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me after.